And we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the live stream. We got a nice 5-gamer on this slate tonight, so excited to get into the breakdown. We have some news coming in with Derrick Rose being ruled out right before the stream, so we got some confirmation on that. Kemba Walker is expected to start, so well, he is starting, so that's the latest piece of news that we got. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. Patrick, what's going on? Derek, welcome into the stream. The Prince, how you doing? Nightmare. Ready to get into the slate, guys. We're going to do a little bit of the game-by-game, as always, on DraftKings. Talk about FanDuel, all the above. Answer all the questions that you guys have. Derek says, smash that like button. Yeah, guys, hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. It does help me out in a big way. And let's do a little bit of a game-by-game, why don't we? So, starting, as always, over on DraftKings. Figure out the top plays on this slate today. Obviously, going to have to update a little bit of some stuff with the Derrick Rose news. But for the time being, let's get into it. Miami taking on Indiana. We did get confirmation that Tyler Hero is going to be returning in this game tonight. So that's obviously a big piece of news for us on this slate. At this 7K price tag, do think he's going to be a pretty great play on both websites on this slate tonight. Him along with Kyle Lowry should take on a lot of usage now. And obviously, with Tyler Hero returning, it's going to take a bit of a hit to guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Struss. So they're going to become a little bit less of viable plays. However, when you're looking at this Miami squad overall, they're still pretty short-handed. Pulling up the roster and looking at what they have off the bench, there's a lot of signings going on in the NBA right now, trying to get some depth. So people getting signed off the street, so to speak. Some old names that we haven't seen in the NBA for quite some time. Some new rules being enforced by the NBA now allowing teams to sign some more guys with all of this craziness going on in the world. But when you're looking at this Miami squad and looking at their depth right now, they really don't have all that much off the bench. So I do think this is going to be a pretty solidified rotation in this first game here, which for obvious reasons is going to make us have a lot more interest in some of these guys, namely Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero. Those two guys are really the two guys I'd be focusing in on the Miami side, alongside Dwayne Dedmon as well at 5'3", where there continuing to be no Bam Adebayo. He should continue to be the starting center in this one, and they're going to need his size in this game because of the big front court that the Indiana Pacers roll out in Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. So certainly should get plenty of minutes should Dwayne Dedmon. I think he's going to continue to be a pretty decent value for this Miami squad. And like I said, the three guys I'd be really focusing in on would be Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, and Dwayne Dedmon. Those three guys really going to be carrying the load. On the Indiana side, we really focus in on four guys for the most part. And those four guys are going to be Miles Turner, Caris LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, and Malcolm Brogdon. I do think that Miles Turner continues to be priced very reasonably across the industry, so he's certainly someone that's standing out to me that can surpass his price tag in a major way on this slate tonight. Do have interest in him. And the same can be said for Caris LeVert, especially on FanDuel, though. Caris LeVert priced at the 7.8 on DraftKings. If you go over to FanDuel, they just continue to not price him up enough. He's priced at 6.5. That's just too cheap over here on FanDuel, so going to certainly have a lot of interest in him over there. Have interest in him on both websites, but FanDuel just not doing a good enough job on the pricing, so Caris LeVert's going to be a smash play over there tonight. And those are the main guys I'd be looking to in this first game. Pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. Off the bench, you could be taking a look to a Duncan Robinson as well for Miami. I do think that he has some upside at his 4.8 price tag. He's a little bit risky, a little bit of an all-or-nothing play. However, if he does get hot from behind the arc, does have quite a bit of upside, and he's a risky tournament option that could pay off for you. So someone that I'd be willing to look to. Second game on the slate with Detroit taking on New York Knicks. We did just get confirmation that Derrick Rose is indeed out in this one. We continue to be without R.J. Barrett. And there's no Emmanuel Quickley in this game, so that should open up a lot more usage for, of course, Mr. Kemba Walker. He's expected to start again at 5'2". That price tag is very respectable. He played 37 minutes last time out, put up 43 DraftKings points. At this point, New York Knicks really aren't happy with Kemba Walker, but it might be something where they let him play a bunch of minutes to maybe showcase his talents a little bit and then trade him at some point in the season. So I'm willing to go all in on Kemba for the time being. I think it would be in their best interest to give him some run and to, like I said, show off his skills so that if they're going to shop him at some point during the season, they can kind of show the league he's still got some talent. And I think they kind of want him to be playing well for these games to do exactly that. So the league that he still has some talent, maybe be able to sell him. We got some more injury news coming in. Nazir Little was ruled out. Damian Lillard, Yusuf Nurkic still listed as game time decisions. So unfortunately, we're not going to have confirmation on that. So that news just came in. But yeah, on this New York Knicks side, they're going to be pretty short-handed here. So the starters certainly should get a lot of minutes. Alec Burks, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, those 4 guys specifically. And then obviously the pay-up option of Julius Randle. Going to be tremendous plays at their price tag. They continue to be too cheap. All of the usage and workload should fall to them. And for that reason, they should be great plays. Running it back on the other side with the Detroit guys, Cade Cunningham certainly going to give a big bump up in usage with there being no Jeremiah Grant for an extended period of time, and the same rule can be said for Sadiq Bey. Both of these guys should have a lot of upside, and one guy that's grading out pretty well in my projections on both sides too would be Isaiah Stewart. Consistently playing 30-plus minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. He has had some foul trouble issues at times, but if he's able to stay out of foul trouble, I do think that he's going to have to stay in this game to take on the likes of a Julius Randle defensively. And for that reason, I do think that he's a pretty intriguing play for me on this slate tonight. That could certainly pay off at his respective price tag on both of these websites tonight. So no issues with you going there. Like I said, on the Detroit side, it's pretty solidified. We're going Cade Cunningham. We're going Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. Pretty obvious. Saban Lee at 4-3 on DraftKings. His minutes really haven't been all that high recently, so it's probably a no for me. He was a guy that I had quite a bit of interest in for a couple games there when they were dealing with some more guard injuries. He played like 28 minutes that one game, put up 41 DraftKings points. But his price tag's starting to kind of get adjusted for his role. So that's probably going to be a no for me in this one. Lemmer says, Embiid scored 73 on FanDuel but didn't make the optimal. I'm trying to figure out why. Cancer made the optimal. It's just a price tag thing, man. Cancer was really, really cheap. Cancer was only 3.7, so if you factor in the price tags, obviously, that salary relief, if that allows you to spend up elsewhere, it's going to be a great play. I personally had a lot of exposure to Joel Embiid. That was kind of my pivot off of Enes Kanter because I wanted to get my lineup construction different, even though Enes Kanter was a tremendous play. Or Enes Freedom is his name now. I should refer to him as. John Ga says, would you play Sabonis and Dedmon? Yeah, absolutely. I have no issues with you doing that whatsoever. If you want to go to that. The Claw says, what's up, boys? Welcome in, Claw. How you doing tonight? But yeah, so Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, like I said, obviously going to be opening up more usage on the New York Knicks side of things. I will be updating my projections to display that new update with there being no Derrick Rose, and I'm sure these guys are going to be popping in my projections even more. So certainly something to keep your eyes on there. Kemba Walker going to be a great play. Evan Fournier going to be a great play. This Portland-New Orleans Pelicans game, we're waiting on this news of Damian Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic. Obviously, some very important news. If one or both of these guys is out, that's going to have a major impact on the rotation. And this should be a great game environment for fantasy points to be scored. Looking at the over-under in this game, comes in with a 219.5 over-under, only a 2-point spread in favor of the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans have been involved in a lot of blowouts, so if the game's going to stay close, that's certainly going to bode well for their guys on the fantasy points spectrum. So that's obviously, very relevant news. And as far as anyone else in this Portland squad, it's going to really rely on this Yusuf Nurkic and Damian Lillard news. If Yusuf Nurkic gets ruled out, going to be a tremendous bump up for Larry Nance Jr. and Robert Covington. They would both become very good plays. And if Damian Lillard gets ruled out, going to be a big bump up for an Anthony Simmons and Dennis Smith Jr. So that's some very, very important news that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. And I think that's going to really determine how I'm going to want to build my lineups tonight. Because like I said, I'm really a fan of this game environment. Expect to stay close. I think Brandon Ingram and Jonas Valanciunas are both great pay-up options in this game environment. They could both really have big games. Big fan of Jonas Valanciunas, especially over here on FanDuel, where they've got him priced way too cheap once again. Looking at his price tag over here on FanDuel, he's at 7.8. It's not completely terrible. I mean, it could be down a little bit lower in the 7K range, but the fact of the matter is, still too cheap for Jonas Valanciunas. Going to really like him over there on FanDuel. I like him a lot on DraftKings as well. Just priced a little bit more appropriately at that 8.3 price tag. So, but my lock of the night tonight is Josh Hart at 5.7 on DraftKings. He's priced too cheap on FanDuel. He's priced too cheap for his upside. This guy has been getting the job done in any way that he can. A great rebounder. He's consistently getting rebounds as is, and all it's going to take is him getting a few buckets more than what he's been getting, 11, 13, 14. If he's able to go out there and drop 20 points, he could have a huge fantasy night. Upwards of 50 points is the upside that Josh Hart has, especially taking on this Portland Trailblazers team that's just not good defensively whatsoever. So he is my lock of the night. Love the play. And like I said, Larry Nance Jr., Anthony Simmons, Robert Covington would all become tremendous plays depending upon the Damian Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic news. So we have to keep our eyes on that. Claw says, Booker, Paul, or Lowry? I would go with Lowry. Booker and Paul, that team's a lot more healthy. Lowry, the Miami Heat, is still dealing without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, so I think that they're going to be tremendous plays on this slate tonight. And for that reason, certainly have a lot of interest in them. LeVert or Brogdon, I'd probably go with, you said LeVert, Brogdon, or D'Angelo Russell. I don't know, man. I like all those plays. I think you're on DraftKings. I'd probably go with Brogdon out of those three. So, yeah, that'd be my answer there. Minnesota taking on Dallas, the next game on the slate. We have Luka Doncic continuing to be out. Kristaps Porzingis listed as questionable. That's obviously a very big news if he is out. Dorian Finney-Smith, Marquise Chris going to get a big bump up in their amount of run. So that's certainly worth monitoring. Marquise Chris all the way down to 3K, 10-day contract. Maybe he gets a little bit of run here. And if he does, at a 3K price tag, he's traditionally a very good fantasy point producer. So going to like him. Jalen Noel, I think, is going to get the start here for the Timberwolves, and he's a very good fantasy point producer. He grades out as one of the best value plays on the slate for me. At only 4K, only 3.3 on DraftKings, only 4K on FanDuel. He's putting up over a fantasy point per minute, and he usually only plays around like 15 to 18 minutes. So if he's going to get a lot of minutes, he should get a lot of fantasy points, especially for only a 3.3 price tag. So he's standing out to me. And then the obvious candidates, with there being no Anthony Edwards, I think Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, both going to be tremendous options on the slate that are both going to offer a lot of upside. On the Dallas Mavericks side, if we do get confirmation there's no Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Brunson, already with Tim Hardaway Jr. being ruled out. I mean, Sterling Brown should have a much larger role now as well. And Jalen Brunson is going to get a ton of usage. So I think he becomes a tremendous play, especially if there's no Kristaps Porzingis. Same thing can be said for Trey Burke at 3.9. With there being no Tim Hardaway Jr., I think he's going to be a pretty decent value play here, similar to a Jalen Noel. Both guys, very good fantasy point producers. Both guys should get a lot more minutes. And Dorian Finney-Smith, a guy that doesn't exactly produce at the highest rate, but the fact of the matter is he should be out there for a ton of minutes. And with that being the case, he's certainly going to be a great play on this slate tonight, with there being no Tim Hardaway Jr., with there being no Kristaps Porzingis possibly. Dorian Finney-Smith, certainly someone that you could be looking to on this slate tonight. Going to make a lot of sense to me. Certainly would be having a bunch of interest in him, even though he's not the best fantasy point producer. And the other guy you have to be taking a hard look to in this game is Malik Beasley on the Minnesota side. So you have Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, Karl-Anthony Towns, and even a guy in a Jaden McDaniels, who doesn't exactly produce at the highest rate, but he's been playing 30-plus minutes at times. I think he should continue to get a lot of minutes in this one with these guys being shorthanded. So a decent value play, and Naz Reid at 3.2, also going to be a decent value play. So Sterling Brown at 3.1, though, with there being no Tim Hardaway Jr. now, I mean, 3.1, he could really pay off that price tag relatively easily. I'm still updating on my projections and stuff with this injury news coming in, but I'd be willing to bet that he's going to grade out as a pretty phenomenal play for me in my projections here tonight. So he's someone that I would have no issues with you going to on this slate. So if you want to go there, certainly don't have an issue with it. And yeah, those are the guys that I'd be looking to in this game on this slate tonight. And then we'll talk about this next game here momentarily. Phoenix taking on the LA Lakers. There continues to be no Anthony Davis. We did get confirmation, however, that Dwight Howard is going to return and Talen Horton-Tucker is going to return. So this Lakers squad's not going to be quite as shorthanded as they were previously. So for that reason, some of these plays aren't going to be quite as good as plays as I thought they would be this morning. Because a guy like a Carmelo Anthony, he's going to be getting his usage cut into by Talen Horton-Tucker. I'd much rather play Talen Horton-Tucker than Carmelo Anthony now. Talen Horton-Tucker, very good fantasy point producer. Now you take out the equation of Anthony Davis, he becomes the third guy in this offense, and he should have a bunch of upside. So I think that he's going to be a great play on the slate now. And like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a hit to a guy in a Carmelo Anthony, who I was very high on this morning. Still going to be a decent play, but Talen Horton-Tucker would definitely be my preferred option of the two there. And Dwight Howard at 4.6, I think becomes a pretty intriguing play now as well. There's no Anthony Davis. He should get a decent amount of run at only this 4.6 price tag if you need a cheaper center. Do think that he could produce at a pretty high rate here, and he is very, very cheap now that we got confirmation that he is indeed in. Could be an intriguing play for us on this slate tonight. But Isaiah Thomas, Rajon Rondo, all these guys that we were kind of playing for value plays before do take a very big hit with Talen Horton-Tucker returning. And like I said, I'd much rather just get a bunch of exposure to Taylor Horton-Tucker than going to these other guys. Horton-Tucker's a great fantasy point producer. He's going to get all those minutes. There's no Anthony Davis. He's the third guy in line behind Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. Those three guys certainly would be the top priorities for me in this one. And then as far as anyone else on the Phoenix side of things, really simple. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. I don't think you really have to get cute with anyone else on this Phoenix side. You have a bunch of rotation players that are just sharing usage. Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges. I don't really think they have to be priorities for us. There's other spots that we're dealing with injuries. There's other spots that there's going to be a usage bump up. So this Phoenix side becomes not that intriguing to me, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's a quick little overall breakdown, to be honest. It's a 5-gamer. Got through it pretty quick. But I feel like we're feeling pretty confident. The only thing we're not feeling confident about is we need confirmation on some of this injury news. We need the Damian Lillard news. We need the Yusuf Nurkic news. We need the Kristaps Porzingis news. And once we get that, we'll have a much better idea of where we're really going to be looking to on the slate today for value, upside, all of that fun stuff. The class says Randall at LBJ, and that's not even close. Randall's been really underwhelming lately, man. And Randall continues to be priced up on DraftKings, and he's just really not producing at that high of a rate. He's up at 10-3. He's spending extra, less than $1,000 to get up to LeBron James. With there being no Anthony Davis, it's not even a question for me that LeBron James is a way better play. Timeline says FanDuel love. Yeah, we're going to talk about FanDuel right now. So we'll go over to FanDuel here, figure out the different guys that we can be playing over here. With the updates of Derrick Rose being out and all that stuff, I'm still working on getting that into my projections on my second monitor here. But Derrick Rose was ruled out. So that's going to make Kemba Walker certainly an intriguing play. As far as his overall price tag over here on FanDuel, he's only 5'7". So he's going to become a tremendous value play on FanDuel. He's a great value play on DraftKings, both websites. He's too cheap now. He's expected to start. Certainly going to be a great play. Another guy that we talked about earlier, if you're just joining the stream on FanDuel, that is way too cheap, is Caris LeVert. He's only 6'5". They get him priced at like 7-8 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, they've continued to not adjust his price tag. So Caris LeVert's going to be an absolute smash play for me over here on FanDuel. It's really a no-brainer. He's just too easy to fit in your lineups. He has way too much upside. And he's going to be a tremendous play for me on this slate tonight. So Caris LeVert's someone that I will be getting a lot of exposure to on FanDuel specifically. Some other guys that we could be looking to on FanDuel. Karl-Anthony Towns at 99 is a great pay-up option. Like I said, with there being no Anthony Edwards at the center position, I do think that he has a bunch of upside if you want to go there. Do think that he's a pretty intriguing play. Damian Lillard, if he does indeed play at 8'6" in this game environment, I think is a tremendous play on FanDuel. Would be one of my top point guard options, so I do have interest in him. D'Angelo Russell on that Minnesota side, with there being no Anthony Edwards. Kyle Lowry, with there being no Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Jonas Valanciunas, I talked about liking on FanDuel. Josh Hart is my lock of the night at 6'6" on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's even cheaper at 5'7", so I like him even more on there. But on FanDuel, where you get 3 points for the blocks and steals and all that stuff, Josh Hart, very good at racking up those peripheral stats. And I do think that he's going to be a tremendous play on both websites tonight. So I certainly would be willing to get exposure to him there. Miles Turner, also way underpriced on FanDuel, similar to Caris LeVert. Both these guys really standing out to me over here on FanDuel. Both priced in the mid 6K range, both way too cheap for their respective roles. Both should be able to surpass those price tags pretty easily. And then the rest of these guys, it's going to kind of depend on the injury news. Taylor Horton-Tucker at 5'6", now that we got confirmation that he's in. Tremendous play over here on FanDuel. He's going to grade out as a guy I would definitely be wanting to get in my lineups. Dwayne Dedmon at the center position at 5'7". Kemba Walker at 5'7", I think are great plays. Alec Burks, another guy whose price tag is way too cheap over here on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. DraftKings has him priced way up in the 7K range. FanDuel has him only priced at 5'6". So I certainly would be willing to take advantage of the price tag over here on FanDuel for Mr. Alec Burks. And I think that's a quick little rundown of some guys I'm looking to on FanDuel, but certainly worth playing. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking to on FanDuel. I also think that Jalen Noel at 4K on FanDuel is a really solid salary relief option. Like I talked about on DraftKings, only 3-3. The only thing is, at the point guard position, you can only play 2 guys, so you are kind of sacrificing maybe some more upside guys like a Damian Lillard or something like that as a pay-up option on FanDuel. But certainly do think that these are intriguing options. The class says Saddiq Bey or Powell. That is going to depend upon the Damian Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic news. For the time being, I would go Saddiq Bey as far as upside at his price tag. If we do get confirmation that there is indeed no Damian Lillard, Yusuf Nurkic, Norman Powell gets a big bump up and would become one of the best plays on the slate. So Obviously waiting on that news. That's a big piece of news that we need to get. Nightmare says, can you have too many value plays in your lineup? Yeah, if you aren't using enough salary, and you're going all value plays, that could certainly be a problem. You're going to want pay-up options, because if you don't have pay-up options, you're really limiting your upside. So you certainly could have too much value. But if you're using the value plays that are expected to exceed their price tag, and then spending up for some of the higher priced guys, higher projected guys, you shouldn't really have an issue with having too many value plays. So Crowder or Carmelo Anthony, I'd go with Carmelo. Valanciunas or Lowry class, I would go with Valanciunas. Time of Life says, why we like LeVert if Brogdon is back? Because LeVert's price tag on FanDuel is absolutely atrocious. I mean, LeVert on DraftKings isn't as nearly of a good play, but on FanDuel, I don't care that Malcolm Brogdon is back when he's only 6'5". He's consistently playing in the mid-30s minutes. It's just too cheap of a price tag for his upside, man. So I don't care that Malcolm Brogdon's back. They both grade out as pretty good plays for me over on FanDuel. I'd be willing to play them both together on FanDuel. DraftKings, things get a little bit different with the pricing, the way that it is over there on DraftKings. So the class says, did you say Nerlens Noel was a good move? No, not Nerlens Noel. Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Expected to get the start. There's no Patrick Beverley in this one. He's producing over a fantasy point per minute on both websites. So I think that he's going to be a tremendous value play. Looking at his price tag over here on DraftKings, he's only 3.3 when looking at his production on the season. As far as his fantasy point per minute production, he's putting up 1.08 DK points per minute. So he's a guy that usually plays around like 20 minutes, is putting up over 1 fantasy point per minute. And now he should see upwards of, even more minutes. So he's going to be someone that I definitely want to be playing. The Legend says, don't like the Pacers today. Yeah, I like the Pacers quite a bit on FanDuel specifically, so I would disagree with you there. On DraftKings, they're priced up a little bit more appropriately, but I like the Pacers quite a bit on FanDuel. John says, best pay-up guard on DraftKings cash game. Best pay-up guard on DraftKings cash game. Let's see what we got here. The guard position on DraftKings in a cash game. I'd probably go with Russell Westbrook as the best pay-up option, because there's no Anthony Davis. His usage should continue to be very, very high here. If you were asking for a pay-up option, he would be someone that certainly makes sense. However, I do think there's some better options that are cheaper. Damian Lillard would probably be my top option. The problem is we just haven't gotten confirmation that he's in. If he's in, he would indeed be my top option. The Trailblazers are dealing with some injuries right now. He should certainly have quite a bit of usage. And for that reason, with there being no CJ McCollum, he is a tremendous play for me. Claw says, best play for under 6,100 on DraftKings. Best play for under 6,100. Let's look at the salaries here. 6,100. Josh Hart, 5,700. He's my lock of the night. Josh Hart's my lock of the night, man. He's the best play for sure. So get him in your lineups, because I love the price tag. I love the upside. I love the fact that he's not scoring reliant. He can get you there in multiple different ways. And for that reason, he is a tremendous play on this slate tonight, and I would certainly be prioritizing him in a high way. So yeah, guys, we kind of blew through this slate, but it's just kind of simple, to be honest. It's only a 5-gamer. The only thing that's not simple about it is this injury news. The Kristaps Porzingis news, the Damian Lillard news, the Yusuf Nurkic news. I mean, those are very, very big pieces of news that could certainly completely shift the priorities of who you're wanting to get in your lineups. So if we don't get confirmation on that, not too sure. Apart from Josh Hart, best play under 6,100 besides Josh Hart would be Talen Horton-Tucker. Talen Horton-Tucker now, with there being no Anthony Davis, the third guy up, returning from injury, I certainly like him a lot in that price range. I mean, I'm just trying to pick the guy that's like closest price to 6K. That's a really good play. Typically, these websites are very good at their pricing. And you want to use most of the salary cap to have the most upside in your lineups. There's times where they mess up and the pricing isn't the best and all that stuff, but generally speaking, the more priced up a guy is, obviously the better play that he is. The Prince says, do you like Cade today? Yeah, I like Cade. He should continue to be a really good play with there being no Jeremiah Grant in that squad. Time of My Life says, Cat or Joe Val. It depends upon your roster construction, my man. I like both those guys a lot. So if you can afford to get up to Cat, certainly do so. If you can't quite afford him and you like all the other pieces, but you have to go down to J-Val, I think you're in a really good spot. Claw says, one spot left. I've got $6,100 to spend, and having Hart and Valanciunas in the same lineup a bad idea. No, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. If you play Jonas Valanciunas and Brandon Ingram in the same lineup, that might be a bad idea because they're both priced up to where they both probably couldn't get there. But if you play Jonas Valanciunas and Josh Hart, that's perfectly fine because Josh Hart isn't priced up. So Josh Hart could still get there at his price tag. Jonas Valanciunas could still get there at his price tag, and you'll be really happy with the results. So I don't think that's a bad idea at all. THT or Gabe Vincent, THT, not even close. Is having Carmelo Anthony and THT in the same lineup a bad move? No, I don't think so. They're both cheap enough to where it wouldn't be an issue. So if you want to do that, I don't think that's a terrible idea. You are kind of negatively correlating yourself a little bit because technically speaking, you know, one guy scores, the other guy can't. So you're not exactly, you know, that's a little bit of negative correlation going on there. But for the most part, I'd give you the green light because they're both cheap enough to where you could certainly do that. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any more questions in the chat. I'll be hanging out for another 20-30 minutes if the questions keep coming. If not, I got to bounce out, update my projections. If you didn't know, this is brought to you by Parlay Play, the KJK DFS channel. Sponsor Parlay Play. It is a player props site. It is a tremendous site. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. If you haven't signed up yet, guys, go ahead and sign up using the link I'm going to put in the chat right now using the code KJK003. When you sign up, if you use my promo code, they will match your first deposit up to $50. They're also going to give you $10 risk-free entries when you sign up today. And when I'm going over all these picks, you can head on over to Parlay Play. It's a very simple format. You click on whatever game you'd like. You click the over or the under for guys. You can click above their head to change it from points to rebounds or parlay points, which is Parlay Play's fantasy point format. I've really been enjoying taking advantage of those lines because I can use my projection model and pick guys that I have projected for more than Parlay Play does, and obviously lock the pick in. So head on over to Parlay Play, sign up today using that code KJK003, and if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, really looking to win a lot of money, I do offer a premium package. I would highly recommend you go ahead and check it out. You can get access to my Discord package for only $1 throughout the entire month of December, giving you guys a discount for the holiday season, trying to give back to you guys for showing your support on this channel all season long. Really do greatly appreciate it, or all year long, I should say. And for that reason, I'm giving a discount in the Discord package. You can also get the KJK DFS NBA package. You get access to my premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, core plays, all of that fun stuff. Well worth the price tag. I can promise you it's a lot cheaper than other stuff in the industry, and I work my tail off to provide the best content over here possible. So constantly answering questions in the Discord chat, constantly updating projections, constantly updating core plays, constantly letting people know the impacts of injuries, all of that fun stuff. So go ahead and check out the KJK DFS NBA Premium Package. The Claw says, I like my lineup. No, thank you. No problem, Claw. Get that big win, Claw. Patrick says, yeah, Claw, let's get some money tonight. John says, would you put Burke in a lineup? Yeah, I think Burke's a tremendous tournament play. Now that there's no Tim Hardaway Jr., I would 100% put Burke in a lineup. He's going to get a big bump up. He's a great fantasy point producer. So I certainly think that he is worthy of a tournament lineup without a doubt. He could surpass his price tag in a very easy way with how much he produces. I mean, the guy's a great fantasy point producer. I can even pull up the permanent production here at 3.9 on DraftKings. Let's go ahead and see what he puts up on a permanent basis. Let's take down the social media here so we can see. 3.9 for Trey Burke on a permanent basis. He's putting up 0.98 DK points per minute. So, I mean, almost a DK point per minute. Pretty much one DK point per minute at that price tag. Phenomenal play over on FanDuel as far as Trey Burke is concerned. Let's see. One thing you have to check is if he has shooting guard eligibility, because if he doesn't, then you're locking in a point guard. He does have shooting guard eligibility. He is 5'3". I'm sorry, 4'3". Once again, could certainly surpass that price tag. And we just got confirmation that Killian Hayes is listed as out for the Detroit Pistons. So that's pretty big piece of news, because what that means now is that Mr. Saban Lee and Frank Jackson both become pretty relevant value plays now. So Saban Lee and Frank Jackson both just got bumps up. So they're, once again, another piece of value you could be looking to. Both those guards produce at a pretty high rate. Frank Jackson continues to shoot the 3-ball very well this season. So if you want to go there, Saban Lee, I think that those guys are now pretty intriguing value plays, with there being no more Killian Hayes. That's also going to give a bump up to Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, and Isaiah Stewart in that starting lineup. So Detroit guys just got to bump up, so certainly keep your eyes on that news. Nightmare Sarahs, are you going to have ownership projections anytime soon? That's not in the plans for the immediate future, Nightmare, so not right now, man, especially with what's going on in the NBA right now. I'll be honest with you, with the ownership projections and all this news coming out last minute, ownership projections aren't even accurate, like right now, across the industry. And I'm not saying that other people don't have good products. A lot of people have really good products. I'm not the only one that provides value in the industry. I'm not trying to, shoot down anyone else's products or anything. But what I am saying is there's so much news coming out to the point of last minute news to where projected ownership doesn't even matter. I would focus more on adjusting and making the proper adjustments in your lineups to this injury news than ownership. Because if you make the proper last minute adjustments in your lineup with some of the things, like for instance tonight, Nurkic, if you have a plan together for when those guys get ruled out and you exercise it, you're going to have a huge advantage on the field. Same thing for Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis gets ruled out, other people aren't anticipating it, and you plan for that, you're going to have a huge advantage on the field. The New York Knicks news we just got with Derrick Rose, you pay attention to that, and you pivot off Derrick Rose, you go to a Kemba Walker. That's probably a bad example, because guess what? We already got the news. We got the news well ahead of locks. So Kemba Walker is probably going to have a bunch of ownership, as he should, because we got this news way before. But guess what? The guys that should have way more ownership, because let's say Damian Lillard's ruled out, Anthony Simmons and Dennis Smith Jr. and Norman Powell, they're probably not going to have the ownership that they should. And if you're paying attention at your computer, Larry Nance Jr., if you're paying attention at your computer and you're making those adjustments, other people aren't, and you're going to have an advantage on the field. So that's my job, to tell you those adjustments that you should be making if something happens. And if you listen and you take advantage of that and you make those changes in your lineup, I promise you're going to have success. I would not worry about ownership too much. Obviously, it's going to be a thing, but if your processes are correct, you're going to naturally get low on guys. I do it all the time. That's what my whole premium product is designed around, to give you guys that are projected to score more than their price tag, projected to outscore their price tag, use them as value plays to allow you to pay up for the top pay up options. And if you do that, you're going to be doing very, very good. That's my process. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in getting tied up in ownership projections. Half the time, they're not even right. And so, yeah, man, just really focus on your process. Nick says, not crazy about the slate. What are your thoughts on Naz Reid tonight? I think Naz Reid's a pretty intriguing value play. I just am a little bit worried about his minutes is the only thing. He produces at a very high rate. He's grading out as a pretty respectable play for me in my projection model. But the fact of the matter is, still only playing like right around 20 minutes. I do think there are some better places that we could go to that are getting more minutes. So for that reason, I like Naz Reid, but I wouldn't go too crazy on him. So that would kind of be my approach there when it comes to Mr. Naz Reid. Time of Life says, fastest paced game. Pretty simple. All you got to do is look at the over-unders for these games. You go down to the last game. Phoenix taking on the LA Lakers. It's a 224 over-under. So that should be the fastest paced game. One game environment that both teams are really bad defensively, although it's not the highest total, is this Portland Trailblazers New Orleans Pelicans game. It's the second highest total. Both teams grade out very bad for me on my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, my defensive transition tools on my Patreon package. So I do think that the New Orleans Pelicans and Trailblazers game is going to be a great game environment. Nick says, Suns Lakers should be fastest pace. Yep. Nightmare says, thanks, you nailed it, bro. Yeah, no problem, man. Just keep working on your process and results will come. Charlie says, THJ is out for tonight. Yeah, we talked about that, Charlie. If you're just tuning into the stream, he is indeed out. So that's going to be giving a big bump up to some other guys on this Dallas side. So Dorian Finney-Smith. Jalen Brunson's obviously going to be the main candidate, but also Trey Burke as the backup point guard. I think that he gets a lot more run, a lot more usage, and also Sterling Brown. And then lastly, if for some reason there is indeed no Kristaps Porzingis in this game, I think Marquise Chris could become a very good fantasy option at the minimum salary. Traditionally is a pretty good fantasy point producer in the past when he has gotten minutes. And they're going to need his minutes with all these injuries that they're dealing with. So I certainly think that he would become an intriguing value play as well on this slate tonight. The class says Lowry or Paul. She says Paul. Or you mean Sheets? Yeah, I'd probably lean with Lowry because he has a bigger bump up in usage with the Miami Heat. But so just to give you an idea, like my projections weigh in all of this stuff that we talk about. My projections weigh in usage, injuries, pace in games. So I can pretty much guarantee you the reason that Chris Paul grades out as a better play in my projections is because this game's at a faster pace. It's the fastest paced game on the slate, so therefore my projections are going to make those adjustments to give Chris Paul a little bit of a bigger bump up. But from a usage aspect, you're also going to be factoring all the injuries and stuff. Miami's dealing with some injuries now. There's no Jimmy Butler. There's no Bam Adebayo. So for that reason, certainly going to be liking Kyle Lowry a lot. All right, guys, looks like we got about 16 people in here, only 10 likes. If you guys could take a second to hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, that would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. I upload every single day if at all possible. I've also been live streaming a lot. I also have a bunch of stuff going on social media as well. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm constantly putting content out as well. So if you're interested in following the KJK DFS content, go ahead and follow me on those social media platforms. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every time I release a new video, every time I go live. And I'll be here all NBA DFS season long breaking down these NBA DFS slates to help you guys become better NBA DFS players and help you guys win some money night in and night out. That is the goal on this channel. And see if we have any more news coming in here. Killian Hayes, obviously. So like I said, that's going to be a bump up to a Saban Lee and a Frank Jackson. So both those guys could be maybe interesting options for your tournament lineups now. Saban Lee at 4-3. Very good fantasy point producer, especially if he's going to get more minutes. If we get confirmation that he's starting, that would be even better. Tremendous option. So I think that is going to be a good option. Claw says, that's what I was thinking about. Phoenix fast pace, but there's a lot of shared usage with the number of big stars on the court. Yeah, exactly, man. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. You got to decide which one of those you value more. But just so you know how my projections work, my projections factor in all of those things we talk about. Pace, usage, injuries, minutes. It's all baked into the projections. So that's why I say, when people ask me a question like, would you rather play this guy or this guy, and they're a premium member, like, you got to check out the projections because the projections will lean you in the right way. That stuff's all baked into the back end. It's all formulated within the projections, and that's why they are so accurate. Because all that stuff's in the, baked into it. So I like Lowry over Paul, but that will bite me. Yeah, man, that's tough. What's the parlay plays of the night? I don't have parlay plays of the night. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare. This injury news stuff is making it really difficult. I've been trying to do some parlay plays on the live streams as we go, though, when we get this injury news. So a perfect example, the Knicks Pistons. So we just got confirmation on a few guys, right? So there's now no, what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? Who got ruled out for the Pistons? Why can't I think? Killian Hayes. There's no Killian Hayes. So now Cade Cunningham's going to get a big bump up. On the next side of things, we got confirmation that there's no Derrick Rose. So Evan Fournier should get quite a bit of minutes. So a pick on the fly that I would give you right now would be go to Evan Fournier. Above him, click the points. Go to parlay points. His line's only at 16.5. That is way too low. He should easily be able to score 17 fantasy points tonight. So I like that pick a lot. And then if you go to Cade Cunningham and above his switch, go to parlay points 29.5. Yeah, I would like that right there. So I'd be willing to lock those in. I'll probably make that pick right now for you guys. Evan Fournier over 16.5 parlay points and Cade Cunningham over 29.5 parlay points. I would expect both those guys to surpass those very easily tonight. So sign on up for the parlay play, guys. You get a free instant $50 deposit match when you use my link that I will be putting in the chat right now. It's also in the description of all my videos. You can also use the promo code KJK003. Lock these picks in tonight, guys. Evan Fournier over 16.5 parlay points. Cade Cunningham over 29.5 parlay points. Free money right there. Like that pick a lot. Kid Gaming says, banana boat game. I don't know what you mean by that, man. If you could specify. Sorry, I don't know the lingo. Banana boat game. Don't know what that means. All right. So thank you for everyone tuning in. Let me know if you have any more questions in the chat, guys. I'll be hanging out for another like 15 minutes or so if you have any more questions. If not, I'll bounce out early, answer all of my premium members' questions. If you're not a premium member, you should become one. It's going to offer you a lot of value. $19.99 a month, one of the cheapest around the industry. So much to offer. I'm also offering the Discord package, only $1 all of December, giving back to you guys during the holiday season. So if you want to just get that Discord package for only $1, you can do so. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS and sign up for that today. Banana boat is CP3, Melo, and LeBron. All right, now I get the reference. Oh yeah, they had that picture of them out on the boat, if I remember correctly, right? Now I get it. That one didn't ring a bell because it wasn't recent. One of my favorite jokes is the Eric Bledsoe. I don't want to be here anymore tweet when he was on the Phoenix Suns. So I like to reference that one. The I don't want to be here anymore game if Eric Bledsoe ever goes over to Phoenix to play them. So that's one of my personal favorites. Porzingis or Randall on FanDuel. Well, we need confirmation that Porzingis is in, Willie. So it's kind of difficult to answer that question for you right now. If we get confirmation that Porzingis is in, I would certainly go with Porzingis over Randall. They're priced really close, actually. I was going to say upside at their price tags because I knew Kristaps was closer. But yeah, I would still go with Kristaps over Julius Randle because there's no Tim Hardaway Jr., there's no Luka Doncic. Kristaps Porzingis is going to get a big bump up. Nightmare says, update final yet? No, man, we're not even close. If you're a Patreon member of mine, we got to wait closer to lock, man. I'm going to have to update my projections. There's so much stuff coming out. I'm going to have to update my core plays, all that stuff. You'll be looking, probably like 20 minutes before lock. I'll have some more final updates up for you. But we really need some more of that news coming in before I can solidify that stuff. Patrick says, I remember the Bledsoe saga. Yeah, man, that was quite the video. There was a funny video. It was like I can't remember the name of it. It was a knockoff of a movie. I'm not a big movie guy, so I stink with movies. I should know this off the top of my head, but it was like the Kings of the something, and it's Eric Bledsoe and the Sacramento Kings, and they're like trading their players at the time. The Sacramento Kings were terrible. The Phoenix Suns were terrible. So they were like, we'll give you Eric Bledsoe, and in return we'll give you so and so. I don't know. I have to look up the video, but it was really funny during that Bledsoe saga stuff. There was a whole series on it. It was like an NBA funny series on YouTube is what I'm trying to say here. Mikal Bridges over 30 points on DraftKings. I wouldn't bank on it. I would not bank on that whatsoever. Mikal Bridges is typically not a very good fantasy point producer. Now with Devin Booker being back, even more usage is going to be taken away from him. So, no. I mean, he put 30 DraftKings points up last time, but that's because he was taking on the Charlotte Hornets, who are one of the worst teams defensively in the league. They're absolutely terrible. And for that reason, he was in a tremendous spot to really put up a big game. So, no, I'm not high on Mikal Bridges at all. Mikal Bridges is 5'3". I would much rather go to Taylor Horton-Tucker for only 200 more with there being no Anthony Davis. He's the third scoring option on this LA Lakers squad. It's not even close for me. Asif says, when do you normally put in your cores? My cores I usually put in like anywhere from 30 minutes before lock to 15 minutes before lock because it really depends on how much injury news is on the slate. Like Tonight, it's really difficult to be giving you my core plays without knowing the news of Damian Lillard, Yusuf Nurkic, and Kristaps Porzingis. So I'll wait as long as I can, hoping that news comes out. If it doesn't, then I just have to give you my cores with the current news that we have, obviously, and my current projections. But if we get confirmation that some of these guys are out, obviously that changes everything in a huge way. Like if Damian Lillard's out, Dennis Smith Jr., Norman Powell, Anthony Simmons, Anthony Simmons at only 4-5 on DraftKings, he becomes an absolute smash play if there's no Damian Lillard. But until we get confirmation on that, it's really difficult to tell. So, all right, guys, looks like we have 15 likes. If we can get this up to 20 likes, that would be greatly appreciated. That is the goal on all these live streams. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. I'm going to be hanging out for another 10 minutes or so. Is tonight another 40 fantasy points for Kemba Walker? No Rose? Yeah, I think so. I think Kemba Walker, I'm taking this as, I think the Knicks are going to try to show off Kemba Walker here for a few games and then trade him. Because they're really not happy with their Kemba Walker. They don't want Kemba Walker there. Kemba Walker has made it very clear. He's like, I can play, I can ball. Why are you benching me? Put me in the game type of thing. And, I mean, I think the Knicks are going to take this opportunity to run him out there for as many minutes as possible. They really don't need wins. They're not too, I don't really think that they're too focused on winning at this time, it seems to be. There seems to be a whole saga going on right now in New York. The coaching staff isn't happy with the players. The players aren't happy with the coaching staff. So I think that Kemba Walker, they just run him out there. They don't need him to stay fresh for the playoffs or anything because he isn't part of their long-term plans. So I think that they run Kemba Walker out there for a bunch of minutes, try to show him off, and we just got confirmation that Kristaps Porzingis is out, right as I was just talking about it. So Kristaps Porzingis being out, that is a big piece of news. So this was my point. So Porzingis is out now. What does that mean on the Dallas side? That means Jalen Brunson's going to be a phenomenal play. He's going to get a bunch of usage. Dorian Finney-Smith going to get a lot more usage. Trey Burke becomes an even better play. Even though he's a guard, his usage should go way up. We're going to be taking a hard look through some of these value guys in Dwight Powell. Sterling Brown as well should get quite a bit of minutes in this game. Sterling Brown, traditionally a very good fantasy point producer. So he becomes a phenomenal play. And Moses Brown all the way in at 3K. If we get confirmation that Moses Brown is starting this game, Moses Brown is going to absolutely smash. If you remember the days of Moses Brown being on the Oklahoma City Thunder, this guy can ball when it comes to fantasy points. So Moses Brown, if he's starting, which I'm not saying that he is, but even if he comes off the bench, he's going to be an absolute smash play. If he gets like 25 minutes at 3K on DraftKings, the guy's he's just gonna crush. So Moses Brown's phenomenal play. Jalen Brunson gonna be a phenomenal play. Claw says Brunson or D'Angelo Russell. I would go with Brunson now as far as upside at his price tag. This guy could shoot 25 times tonight. So Jalen Brunson's gonna be a phenomenal play. He just got a big bump up with there being no Kristaps. That's a big piece of news. And yeah, this is why I don't update my core plays for you premium members way before we get confirmation on this news, because guess what? I could have updated them and they mean nothing now. They mean absolutely nothing now with this news. So that's why I wait. A lot of people get caught up in NBA DFS on like how much time it takes to research, which it kind of does in some aspects, like knowing the rotations, knowing the coaching and all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is you can wait until like 5 minutes before lock and build your lineups and be very successful at NBA DFS. If you're updating your projections and you're doing everything correct, there should be absolutely no issue with that. So, Dorian Finney-Smith on Dallas as starter. Yeah, I think that he is a decent play for sure. So I do think that he could certainly be in your lineups. Dorian Finney-Smith just isn't a very high fantasy point per minute producer, but the fact of the matter is he's going to have to produce now with all these injuries. So I do think that he's a pretty intriguing play now, especially for a guy that doesn't usually produce at the highest rate. So I do think that he is a pretty intriguing play on this slate tonight. So yeah, guys, it's 6:50 p.m. Eastern right now. If you guys have any last questions that you really want answered, please do ask them in the chat. I'll hang out here for another 5 minutes or so, and then I got to bounce out, update my projections, update my core plays, answer questions in the Discord chat for my premium members. So, please do let me know if you have any questions. Fournier or Finney-Smith, I'd go with Fournier there. Brunson over Russell, definitely, yeah. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is definitely a great play, But Jalen Brunson's usage is just going to be absurd now. There's no Kristaps Porzingis. There's no Tim Hardaway Jr. There's no Luka Doncic. Jalen Brunson could easily shoot 25 times tonight. He could shoot 30 times tonight. He could shoot 35 times tonight. That's an extreme measure, obviously. The likelihood of that happening isn't very high. But it's possible. It is possible. The Claw showing off the KJK DFS emblems in the chat. Look, those emblems are looking nice. Whoever designed those, really good at that. Sadiq Bey or Finney Smith? I would probably go with Sadiq Bey there. That's tough, though, man. The problem is Finney Smith doesn't really produce at the highest rate, but I think that Finney Smith's permanent usage tonight is going to be highly inflated because they're really short-handed. So, Nick says, thanks for the content. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for the support. Appreciate you. 17 likes, guys. Let's get to 20 likes if we can. That would be greatly appreciated. Trying to get to 20 likes on all these live streams. Thank you for tuning in with me tonight. Glad that you're enjoying the content. Glad I'm providing you with value. That is the goal. For FanDuel, we paying up at center, question mark. The Prince says, FanDuel, I don't know, man. With this news coming out of Kristaps, I might be able to go down to some cheaper guys, but I certainly like, my top two options are going to be Karl Anthony Towns and Jonas Valanciunas. I like them a lot. I talked about liking Miles Turner in the mid-range. I like Yusuf Nurkic if he's in. Dwayne Dedmon I like at the center position. Dwight Howard's priced down to 4.9. Could be a decent mid option with him returning. Probably won't be my favorite option, but maybe possibly looking at him. Dwight Powell, now that there is indeed no Kristaps Porzingis, you could certainly be playing. I'm not big on Dwight Powell, to be honest. I try to stay away from him. The one that I'm going to be most intrigued about on FanDuel from a pay-down option is going to be Moses Brown. Like I said, Moses Brown is going to absolutely smash if he gets a lot of minutes in this spot for the Dallas Mavericks. If we get confirmation that he's in the starting lineup. Even if he's not, to be honest with you, I think I'd be willing to take a chance on it. Moses Brown's a phenomenal fantasy point per minute guy. Claus says, Russell or Brogdon? Russell. All right, guys, I'm probably going to get out of here. I got to update my projections. I got to update my core plays, all that fun stuff. But like I said, I want to make sure I answer your questions before I go. If you do have any questions, please ask them right now. I'm going to hang out for 2 more minutes. Any serious questions that you really want answered, ask in the chat. I will gladly answer them before I head out. Hit that like button before you head out. If you enjoyed the stream, really would greatly appreciate it. 17 likes, trying to get to 20. And, yeah. Feeling pretty good about this slate tonight. Thank you, KJK. Klaus says, no problem, Klaus. See you in the Discord. Wish you the best of luck. But yeah, guys, looks like people are all set. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, hit that like button. I wish you guys all the best of luck on this slate tonight. We'll catch you in the next one, and I am out of here. Peace out.